Hello, welcome to episode 6 of Unstoppable Marketing and Mindset with me, MG. I'm your host, marketing and mindset coach for women who want to be absolutely unstoppable in business. So if that describes you, you are in the right place. Today, we're chatting all about repurposing the shit out of your content. That's right. If you're listening to this while you have your little ones around, just FYI, I do swear a little bit more than maybe the average person. So there may be some S-bombs and some F-bombs coming through here. If you're all right with your kids listening to that, that's fine. No judgment from me. My kids also hear it a lot from me, but it's just a little disclaimer before we get started. Repurposing the shit out of your content, because if you're wondering why that's so important, not only is it going to save you so much time, but also extend the lifetime of your content on social media. And let's be real, creating fresh, new content all the time is time consuming and draining. So why not leverage what you already have got, okay, and make it as simple as possible? I think a lot of the time when we go into business, we think we're going to get to do the thing that we're doing our business for and forget that actually, in order to get to the point of doing that on the regular, we need to be creating content consistently, and we don't realize we are content creators. So if you haven't had that realization yet that you are a content creator, this is a moment for you to just really lean into that and go, yeah, okay, cool, that's me. And know that that's okay, because it gets you to your outcome, to your why. I want to first of all share a few stats on the content that you may already be using, like TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, because quite often we spend hours on a piece of content for it only to get a few minutes of airtime. And so I'm going to share some stats on that. Let's start with Instagram. Instagram is my go-to. So I really want to consider how long my content's going to last on Instagram. And an Instagram post has 75% of its views by 48 hours. So that's 2 days where basically once those 2 days are over, you're not getting very many views. That's Instagram. Facebook is 6 hours. LinkedIn, 24 hours. Twitter, 15 to 18 minutes. YouTube, about 20 days. And here's the cincher, and it's the reason why I haven't gotten into TikTok so much. Your content lasts a few minutes. The first 75% of your views will come in the first few minutes on TikTok. Now, remember, this is a broad spectrum kind of research, and there is always an anomaly to each piece of content, because sometimes you'll find if you've used, say, a trending sound that becomes trending 2 months later, all of a sudden that piece of content gets a massive boost. But generally speaking, those are the stats we're talking about. And so it can feel like that we're working against the system when we're trying to spend hours creating content that's only going to last a couple of minutes. And that's why we need to repurpose. Otherwise, we're just constantly spinning our fucking wheels, and we don't have time for that. We've got more purpose than just creating content, unless your job is being a content creator for others. I want to share a story about a piece of content that I created a while ago. This is probably from over a year ago now, possibly 2 years when this happened, because it was when I realized how important it is to repurpose content. I had spent about an hour writing a really vulnerable post about a transformation that I had been through personally. And I put a picture up, I put the post up. It was just at that point in time, I don't even know if reels were around back then, but at that point in time, it was just a static post, one picture, and then what I had written. And I poured my heart out. I put so much energy into this post, and I really felt like it was going to resonate with so many people. And crickets. I mean, it wasn't that no one liked or commented, but it definitely didn't get the response that I expected, which was really interesting because of the amount of energy I'd put into it. So 4 months later, I decided to repost the exact same post. And I kid you not, I used the exact same word for word, copied and pasted. And I also just used the exact same picture. And guess what? It went bonkers. No one saw it the first time. But the second time, all of a sudden, everyone saw it. And if anyone did see it twice, within 4 months, they'd totally forgotten that they'd seen it anyway. So if you've got kind of this fear about repurposing, and I'm not saying to do exactly what I did and copy and paste and use the same picture, that kind of thing. But honestly, even if you did, people are unlikely to notice. I have a client going on a holiday in a couple of months, and this is what we literally spoke about this morning, is what can she repurpose from 12 months ago that is going to be able to share while she's away on holiday, but also allow her to take a break, and no one's going to even know that it was something that she actually shared a year ago, if it's still relative to what you're doing now. The key to successful content repurposing is to have a hero piece. What's a hero piece? I hear you asking. It's a high quality, comprehensive piece of content that covers a particular topic, like a podcast, or it might be a blog post. And this piece serves as the foundation for all other pieces that you create. So like I said, it can be a blog post, it can be a podcast episode, it could be an Instagram live, it could be some other kind of video like a YouTube video. Whatever your hero piece may be, use it as the starting point for all of your other content pieces. I actually ran a content repurposing class in the Unstoppables just last month, and I shared fully behind the scenes what I do in my business. I will tell you that briefly in here, but if you do want to join the Unstoppables and get exclusive eyes behind the scenes in my business and my eyeballs on what you're doing in your business, book in a call using the link in the show notes and we can have a chat about whether it's right for you to join us. Overall, let's get into what I do for content repurposing. My hero piece is my podcast, what you're listening to right now, which is also the same as my YouTube video. So I'm recording the video and the audio at the same time, and I use this recording to go through a transcribing service like outta.ai and make the content into a blog post, which then goes onto my website. I then take the blog post, put it into ChatGPT, which I'm sure you've heard a lot about. If you haven't, it's AI. Just go and check it out. Go and have a play around. Again, that's something that I've taken the Unstoppables through, because if you're not using ChatGPT at this point, you're probably spending a lot more time doing things that you don't need to do. I put it into ChatGPT and ask it to write an Instagram post for me, or a couple of Instagram posts, depending on how much content is in that blog post. And I then create a reel on the topic as well, which is 5+ pieces of content altogether. And this takes me and my team about 2 hours in total. So obviously not all of this is my time because I do the recording, but then you can outsource parts of that if you have a team. But if you don't have a team, if you could spend 2 hours and create 5 or more, potentially up to 10 pieces of content that allow you to use those maybe in the week of that particular piece of content going live, but also ongoing for the weeks and the months following, it is absolutely worth your time, because your content is what allows people to get to know, like, and trust you. Your content is about how people find out what you're an expert in. And as I said at the beginning of this, when we go into business, we might not realize we're content creators, but that's what we are. So if you could set aside 2 hours a week or a fortnight to just smash through really high quality content and have a process of content repurposing, it becomes easy and it becomes valuable rather than just creating content for the sake of creating it. So this content you create in 2 hours, yes, it might serve you for a week or two, but then after that, you can repurpose it in a few months' time as well. Remember my story. People don't actually notice when you repurpose it. Change the picture if you like, change the text slightly. People resonate with different images and different text in different ways at different points in their life. So you can repurpose it because it's going to speak to someone in that moment and someone needs to hear that message. Now, I want to tell you some hacks that I have got that make content repurposing even easier. I've already spoken about one, and that is ChatGPT. It's an AI, so artificial intelligence powered language model that can generate text and answer questions. It's perfect for generating ideas for new content pieces or helping you write copy for your social media posts, copy for your website. You can literally ask it anything. So I'll give you a couple of things that you could ask it to help with repurposing. You could ask it to write 10 podcast ideas or podcast topic ideas for women in business, depending on what your niche is. Enter in your niche, 10 podcast topic ideas for your niche. Then you could ask it to elaborate on one of those ideas. You could say, write me a 500-word blog on that topic. Get the blog and then get it to rewrite it in a tonality that feels good for you. So for me, I use sassy and confident and add in a little bit of humor. So think about the tonality that you want and ask it to rewrite it in that way. And then you could ask it to rewrite that blog or take sections of that blog to put into Instagram posts. It will even come up with hashtags for you. So that's just a few examples of how you could use ChatGPT. If you notice that with your content, you're feeling really overwhelmed, I would also consider what you can outsource, because there are a lot of people that are freelance in this area that can help you with these things. Personally, I've had someone create my content at one point, but I didn't love it because it wasn't my voice. I find my voice is very unique and very hard to replicate. And I also personally, I love creating content. I'm a bit of a sicko in that way, but you've got to outsource the things that you don't love at some point. I say at some point because if you've just started, it might not be something that you can budget for, but you can also start outsourcing some of the things like I have in terms of video creation, adding subtitles, doing things that are, technical or admin that you don't want to do. Like you do all the creative side of it and get other people to do the administration and technical side of it. So maybe that's what you outsource to make it easier. How I do this is, as I'm creating my own content repurposing process, I consider who could do each part of the process if it wasn't me. And that way I can go, right, I'm ready to outsource that part of it. Or even if I'm not, I still know when I am ready, I've got a list of the things that could be outsourced. Also make sure that you have a really good project management software if you've got team, so that you can tick off and easily communicate when each part of that process is complete, so that the next person can then pick up where the last person left off as well. It's also just really helpful to have a project management software for your own management of your content. If you're filming something, for example, have a drop-down box next to it to say, okay, filmed, edited, uploaded, all that kind of thing, okay? So that you've got a clear process and structure around each piece of content that you create. And you might also have in that drop-down box, blog, it might go to all the different places, blog, YouTube, Instagram, so that you can see that it's gone to all of those places and repurposed everywhere. The next thing I wanted to share with you is a little hack with video content, and it's a website called video.ai. So VIDYO.ai, video, like yo video. And I can't remember who told me about this, but oh my gosh, it's blowing my mind. If you go and look at my reels that I've used for my podcast, I have used video to create these. It is so easy. It's free for up to 70 minutes at the moment, okay, at the time of recording. I don't imagine it's going to change that way. But if you're just using it for reels, which are a minute, and you get 70 minutes free a month, you're unlikely to use the full free capacity. And all you do is upload a video. It uses artificial intelligence to determine the really juicy parts and makes it into a beautiful video for you to share on social media, including the captions. So if you're seeing those around, that's one of the resources that people are using to create them. And I know if you just take one thing away from this and go and put a video into video.ai and see what it does, you're just going to be like, mind blowing. It is absolutely incredible. So in summary of all this, repurposing your content is the smartest fucking move to save time in your business. Even if your business is not a content creation business, it is a content creation business. So you want to keep it going, rolling, and you want to make sure that it seems fresh to your audience. And this is why repurposing is so powerful, because it allows you to squeeze as much juice as you can out of every single content idea. By having a hero piece and then using tools like ChatGPT and Video AI, maybe outsourcing some of the work, using a project management software in order to make it as simple and streamlined as possible, you can make your content repurposing easy as fuck in your business and so effective to reach your audience and allow them to know your presence and feel your presence everywhere. That's it for me this week in Unstoppable Marketing and Mindset. Make sure that you subscribe and rate the podcast. And I'd love if you drop into my DMs and share with me your biggest takeaway. I'd love for you to also book in a call if you're ready to be unstoppable in business. There's a link in the show notes. And otherwise, I will see you back here next week. Peace out. I'm MG.